Hello and welcome to Go Prince George. I'm your host, Kevin Neal, and this week I'm achieving my lifelong dream of becoming not an artist, but an artiste. All right, and we're joined with local artist Kara Roberts. Now, Kara, before you teach me how to become a world-class painter, I gotta ask, as an artist, how important is it to attend wine and cheese parties?
Not very important at all.
That's good because I'm actually not sophisticated enough for wine and cheese parties. I pretend I am, but I'm not.
I'm a hermit, so it's all good.
Oh,
I like to
perfect.
stay in my bubble at home.
Excellent. All right, so what should we start with?
We're going to start with building your confidence first with a really, really simple piece that's going to make you feel like you accomplished a lot
Perfect.
in a really short amount of time.
All right, let's get started.
All right, let's do a night lakescape. So I'm going to start with the sky. I always start from the back and go forward.
Okay.
So background first.
Okay,
So take your big flat brush,
I got it.
and we're going to take these blending brushes. Can I have one of those, please?
This one right here?
Thank you. Yeah, just keep this handy.
Okay.
Because basically where we're using acrylic paint, and what's going to happen is it's going to dry pretty quickly.
Okay.
So we want to work fairly fast. We
All
can
right.
get this laid in just a couple of minutes.
Right.
So I'm going to start with the blue. So I'll start up here with my blue and long strokes. I let my brush go all the way off. Go right up to the top. And as I come down a little bit, I'm going to let it fade. And sadly, these brushes lose a little bit of hairs once in a while, which is normal, but
It's okay, it's just gonna add character
it
to
does,
the painting.
exactly. I actually charge more for those ones.
It's like rust on a car.
So make sure that you're running out of paint a little bit by this point, and I just empty my brush off.
Okay, I refilled my brush a few times, but
Okay,
I
well
think
then
it's
you're
good.
gonna do more sky than you will water.
Okay,
So maybe I'll follow your lead and come down a bit. So you don't want to overkill it too much and go straight back and forth. I guess I should watch what you're doing too.
sorry, I'm probably not doing this
There you
right.
go. Actually, you know what? I like the texture you're getting in the sky with the way that you're not listening to me and
Well,
not
that
moving
was
the brush the way I
intentional.
said. Good.
We got blue, and now I understand we're gonna add in some orange.
Yeah. We aren't going to go right straight to the horizon line just yet because we're going to start incorporating that nice sunset color.
Right.
So I'm going to choose the next dark color, which is the orange, and it's going to fade into a yellow eventually. So I'm going to put a little bit on my brush. Now I'm going to come a little bit below the blue if you want to watch me go
Okay.
first this time. So I come in a little bit lower so that I can work backwards and blend it up into the blue. And I'm allowing a little bit of that blue to come down into that color as well. Now the main thing here is I don't want to cover all this white up. Okay, so I'm going to drop down into the water just because my paint is all fresh. And I'm going to, again, start with a little bit of white in between the two colors. And I'll work it down first. So you can jump in anytime you're comfortable.
Oh, I'm comfortable.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm nervous,
But you're doing a
but I'm
fantastic
comfortable.
job. I'm nervous too, so don't curve your lines down. Keep them nice
Right,
and straight.
and
Everything
straight,
you
okay.
see in the horizon is going to be nice and straight. There you go. And you can work it up into the blue a bit if you want, just to give it a little bit more of a sunset feel.
All right, Kara, so you're adding in yellow. I'm assuming that should be my next step. What should I do?
Yeah, so this is going to actually be right behind the tree line that we're going to place in after. So we want it to be really contrasting with the night trees that we're adding, which
Right,
are just
okay.
going to be black. So if we incorporated the black over the blue, it wouldn't stand out as well.
Right.
We needed a good contrast at this point. So just put that yellow in, and you want to blend it up into the orange as well as down into the orange. Just keep blending, blending, blending. There you go. You can work all the way up into the orange since you have so much in your sky there. And you can work down into the orange as well. There you go. I like how you drug that bit of orange through.
I totally did that intentionally.
Now just make sure you don't have any more white anywhere.
I got a little bit of white there.
Yeah.
Over there.
So nice long strokes. The key to painting is to make sure you don't see brush.
All right, Kara, we're just getting up to the end of here. We're gonna put the landscape in. How should we do this?
Okay, so we're gonna come a little bit lower than the middle of the yellow because I'd like the sun to be setting up above the trees.
Okay.
And you just kind of roughen a nice straight line. A lot of people make the mistake when they're doing lakes that they need to curve it.
Right.
But all horizon lines, you have to give it that illusion so you keep them straight. So I just come in and I rough it in. I go ahead and but I don't necessarily want to cover all of that sunlight that should be shining through the trees with black. So I'm just going to take my little brush like I gave you, an angle brush. These are my favorite. I use angle brushes all the time. And I'm going to turn it sideways like this, Kevin, and then
Okay.
I'm going to just start feathering in the tops of these bushes. And depending on what types of foliage you'd like,
Right.
you can use all different types of materials for different textures. So sometimes I'll use some sea sponges to get more of a birch tree effect. But let's just say I've got some spruce and pine going in here to start with. And I'm leaving those little hints of the sky coming in the background. Okay? So you get a little freedom here.
So if I want to put a dinosaur in here, I can put a dinosaur in
You
here?
could, because the sun's behind him, so just make sure that he's...
We know I'm going to put a dinosaur in here. All right, Kara, I think we're finished. Give me your honest thoughts on a scale of Picasso to Van Gogh. Where would you rate me as an artist?
Well, maybe more towards Picasso, I think.
That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Yeah, you
He's
did a great-
famous. All right.
You did a fantastic job, actually.
And you like my dinosaur?
I do.
It's now it's actually a giant mutated lizard from Japan, but for legal reasons we can't say its actual name. Lawyers will be on me quick. That's awesome. So now obviously you're a little bit more experienced of an artist than I am. If people want to check out your art, do you have a website?
I do. You can just Google. I don't actually have, what's it called?
A URL.
Okay, I don't actually have a URL, but it's Kara Roberts Custom Artistry at Wix.com.
Awesome. Well, that's all for this week's show. Remember, you can let us know what you think of the show and what you think of my art, for that matter, anytime you want at go_PrinceGeorge@shaw.ca. Till next time, I'm your host and your artist, Kev Neal.